how sometimes it's necessary to go a long distance out of the way in order to come back a short distance correctly. Or maybe I only think it has something to do with that. But it's why I went to the zoo today and why I walked northerly rather until I came here. Alright, the dog, I think I told you, is a black monster of a beast. An oversized head, tiny ears, and eyes, bloodshot, infected maybe, and a body you can see the ribs through the skin. The dog is black, all black except for the bloodshot eyes, and yes, and an open sore on its right forepaw. That is red too, and oh yes, the poor monster, and I do believe is an old dog, it's certainly a misused one, almost always has an erection of sorts. That's red too. And what else? Oh yes, there is a gray, yellow, white scholarship when he bares his fangs like this. Which is what he did when he saw me for the first time, the day I moved in. Now, animals don't take to me like St. Francis had birds hanging off him all the time. What I mean is, animals are indifferent to me, like people, most of the time. But this dog wasn't indifferent. From the very beginning, he'd snarl and then go for me to get one of my legs. Not like he was rabid, you know, he was sort of a stumbly dog, but he wasn't half-assed either. It was a good stumbly run, but I always got away. He got a piece of my trouser leg. Look, you can see right here where it's mended. He got that the second day I lived there. But I kicked free and got upstairs fast, so that was that. I still don't know to this day how the other roomers manage it. But you know what I think? I think it had to do only with me. Cozy. So, anyway, this went on for over a week whenever I came in, but never when I went out. That's funny, or it was funny. I could pack up and live in a street for all the dog cared. Well, I thought about it up in my room one day, one of the times after I had bolted upstairs, and I made up my mind. I decided, first, I'll kill the dog with kindness, and if that doesn't work, I'll just kill him. Don't react, Peter. Just listen. So, the next day I went out and bought a bag of hamburgers. Medium rare. No onion. No ketchup. And on the way home, I threw away all the rolls and kept just the meat. But I got back to the rooming house. The dog was waiting for me. I half opened the door that led into the entrance hall, and there he was, waiting for me. Its figures. I went in, very cautiously, and I had the hamburgers, you remember. I opened the bag and set the meat down about 12 feet from where the dog was snarling at me. Like so. He snarled, stopped snarling, sniffed, moved slowly, then faster towards the meat. Well, when he got to it, he stopped, and he looked at me. I smiled, but tentatively, you understand. He turned his face back to the hamburgers, smelled, sniffed some more, and then it was as if he tore into them. It was as if he had never eaten anything in his life before, except like garbage, which might very well have been the truth. I don't think the landlady ever eat anything but garbage. But he ate all the hamburgers, almost all at once, making sounds in his throat like a woman. Then, when he had finished the meat, the hamburger, and tried to eat the paper too, he sat down and smiled. I think he smiled. I know cats do. It was a very gratifying few moments. The man! He snarled and made for me again. He didn't get me this time either. So, I got upstairs and I lay down on my bed and started to think about the dog again. To be truthful, I was offended, and I was damn mad too. It was 6 perfectly good hamburgers with not enough pork in them to make it disgusting. I was offended. But after a while, I decided to try it for a few more days. If you think about it, this dog had what amounted to an antipathy towards me. Really, and I wondered if I might overcome this antipathy. So, I tried it for 5 more days, but it was always the same. Snarl, sniff, move, faster, stare, gobble, smile, snarl, bam! Well, now, by this time, Columbus Avenue was strewn with hamburger rolls, and I was less offended than disgusted. So, I decided to kill the dog. Oh, don't be so alarmed, Peter. I didn't succeed. The day I tried to kill the dog, I bought only 1 hamburger and what I thought was a murderous portion of rat poison. When I bought the hamburger, I asked the man not to bother with the roll. All I wanted was the meat. I expected some reaction from him, like, "We don't sell no hamburgers without rolls," or "What do you want to do, eat it out of your hands?" But no, he smiled benignly, wrapped up the hamburger in wax paper, and said, "A bite for ya, pussycat." I wanted to say to him, "No, not really. It's part of a plan to poison a dog I know." But you can't say a dog I know without sounding funny, so I said, a little too loud, I'm afraid, and then too formally, "Yes, a bite for my pussycat!" People looked up. It always happens when I try to simplify things. People look up. But that's neither hither nor thither. So, on my way back to the rooming house, I kneaded the hamburger and rat poison together between my hands. At that point, feeling as much sadness as disgust. I opened the door to the entrance hall, and the monster was there, waiting to take the offering and then jump me. Poor bastard, he never learned that the moment he took to smile before he went for me gave me time enough to get out of range. But there he was, malevolence with an erection, waiting. I put the poison patty down, moved towards the stairs, and watched. The poor animal gobbled the food down which made me almost sick. And then, BAM! But I sprinted up the stairs as usual, and the dog didn't get me as usual. And it came to pass that the beast was deathly ill! I knew this because he no longer attended me and because the landlady sobered up. She stopped me in the hall the same evening of the attempted murder and confided the information that God had struck her puppy dog a surely fatal blow. She had forgotten her bewildered lust, and her eyes were wide open for the first time. They looked like the dog's eyes. She sniffled and implored me to pray for the animal. I wanted to say to her, "Madam, I have myself to pray for, the colored queen, the Puerto Rican family, the person in the front room whom I've never seen, the woman who cries deliberately behind her doors, and all the rest of the people in all rooming houses everywhere. Besides, madam, I don't understand how to pray." But to simplify things, I told her I would pray. She looked up. She said that I was a liar, and that I probably wanted the dog to die. I told her, and there was so much truth here, that I didn't want the dog to die. I didn't. And not just because I had poisoned him. I'm afraid that I must tell you I wanted the dog to live so that I could see what our new relationship might come to. Please understand, Peter, that sort of thing is important. You must believe me, it is important. We have to know the effect of our actions. Well, anyway, the dog recovered. I have no idea why, unless he was a descendant of the puppy who guarded the gates of hell or some such resort. I'm not up on my mythology, are you? At any rate, and you missed the $8,000 question, Peter, at any rate, the dog recovered his health and the landlady recovered her thirst, in no way altered by the Bauhaus deliverance. When I came home from a movie that was playing on 42nd Street, a movie I had seen, or one that was very much like one or several I had seen, after the landlady told me Puppykins was better, I was so hoping for the dog to be waiting for me. I was, well, how would you put it? Enticed? Fascinating? I don't think so. I was heart-shatteringly anxious. That's it! I was heart-shatteringly anxious to confront my friend again. Yes, Peter. Friend. That's the only word for it. I was heart-shatteringly, etc. to confront my doggy friend again. I came in the door and advanced unafraid to the center of the entrance hall. The beast was there, looking at me. And you know, he looked better for his scrape with that, never mind. I stopped. I looked at him. He looked at me. I think we stayed a long time that way. Still, stone statue, just looking at one another. I looked more into his face than he looks into mine. I mean, I can concentrate at looking into a dog's face than a dog can concentrate at looking into mine or anybody else's face for that matter. But during the 22nd or 2 hours that we looked into each other's face, we made contact. tried to love and I had tried to kill, and both had been unsuccessful by themselves. I hoped, and I don't really know why I hoped the dog would understand anything, much less my motivations. I hoped that the dog would understand. It's just that if you can't deal with people, you have to start somewhere with animals. Don't you see? A person has to have some way of dealing with something, if not with people, something. With a bed, with a cockroach, with a mirror. No, that's too hard. That's one of the last steps. With a cockroach, with a carpet, a roll of toilet paper. No, not that either. That's one of the last steps. That's the mirror too. Always check bleeding. You see how hard it is to find things? With a tree corner, and not too many lights, all colors reflecting on the oily wet streets, with a wisp of smoke, with pornographic playing cards, with a strong box, without a lock, with love, with vomiting, with crying, with fury, because the pretty little ladies are pretty little ladies, with making money with your body, which is an act of love, and I can prove it, with howling because you're alive, with God. How about that? With God, who is a colored queen who wears a kimono and plucks his eyebrows, with who is a woman who cries with determination behind her closed doors, with God, who I'm told turned his back on the whole thing some time ago, with someday, with people, with an idea, a concept, and wherever better in this humiliating excuse for a jail, where better to communicate one single simple-minded idea than in an entrance hall, where it would be a start, where better to make a beginning to understand and just possibly be understood, a beginning of an understanding, than with the dog. Just that, a dog. Dog, it seemed like a perfectly sensible idea. Man is a dog's best friend, remember. So, the dog and I looked at each other. I longer than the dog. And what I saw then has been the same ever since. Whenever the dog and I see each other, we both stop where we are. We regard each other with a mixture of sadness and suspicion. And then we feign indifference. We walk past each other safely. We have an understanding. It's a very attempted contact and we had failed. The dog has returned to garbage, and I to solitary but free passage. I have not returned. I mean to say, I have gained solitary free passage. If that much further loss can be said to be gained. I have learned that neither kindness nor cruelty by themselves, independent of each other, create any effect beyond themselves. And I have learned that the two combined together at the same time are the teaching emotion. And what is gained is loss. And what has been the result? The dog and I have attained a compromise, more of a bargain really. We neither love nor hurt because we do not try to reach each other, and was trying to feed the dog in acts of love. And perhaps was the dog's attempts to bite me not an act of love? If we can so misunderstand, well then, why have we invented the word love in the first place? Story of Jerry and the dog. The end.
Well, Peter, do you think I could sell that story to the Reader's Digest and make a couple of $100 for the most unforgettable